The 2026 Detroit Pistons entered the postseason as a dominant force. They finished the regular season with 60 wins, the league's second-best defensive rating, and a nearly airtight 31-9 record at Little Caesars Arena. This chart highlights the contradiction at the center of their season. Those 60 wins stand against a historic, heavy downward spike, 11 consecutive home playoff losses. It is a statistical anomaly that stretches back a decade. For 22 years, the organization has operated in the shadow of their 2004 championship, trying to bridge the gap between legacy and their current rebuild. By the time the 2026 playoffs arrived, Little Caesars Arena was thick with the friction of elite expectations and the memory of past failures. A high-win regular season provides a team with home court advantage, but it cannot insulate them from the psychological burden of a franchise-defining curse. The Orlando Magic arrived in Detroit following a 121-90 blowout of Charlotte in the play-in tournament, defined by high-intensity defensive pressure. They are fighting against a statistical ceiling. Since the NBA adopted its modern format, only 6 number 8 seeds have ever successfully eliminated a number 1 seed. Orlando had to navigate a grueling week of do-or-die play-in games, while Detroit's roster remained fully rested and healthy. Surviving this series requires one of these teams to definitively break a historically insurmountable narrative. This matchup is effectively a collision between two former number 1 overall picks, both drafted to pull their respective franchises out of the lottery and into title contention. Detroit selected Cade Cunningham first overall in 2021, tasking him with orchestrating the team's return to the top of the Eastern Conference. 1 year later, Orlando drafted Paolo Banchero at number 1, and he immediately became the central engine of the Magic's grit and grind identity. Their regular season metrics show 2 different ways to lead an offense. Cunningham operates as a high-efficiency floor general, while Banchero relies on physical, high-volume scoring to carry the Magic through tight possessions. Cunningham's presence in this series was uncertain after he suffered a collapsed lung late in the season, but he returned to the lineup just in time for Game 1. Individual brilliance from a cornerstone player is often the only mechanism capable of dismantling an elite, system-oriented playoff defense. The tactical breakdown of Game 1 started with defensive efficiency. Detroit's second-ranked defense was designed to stall the Magic's slower, more methodical half-court sets. Orlando's challenge became significantly harder without Jonathan Isaac, their primary defensive anchor, who missed the game with a knee injury. Cunningham exploited the absence of Isaac's length in the paint, repeatedly breaking down the perimeter and finishing with 39 points. This graph shows Banchero's scoring trend on the road. Over his last 7 away games, his production dropped to 17.1 points as opposing defenses tightened. Detroit forced Banchero away from the rim, funneling him into low-percentage contested mid-range looks. To maintain their lead, Detroit utilized shooters like Duncan Robinson to stretch Orlando's remaining defenders, creating lanes that the Magic's depleted rotation couldn't close. This immediate offensive surge from the opening tip allowed Detroit to control the game's rhythm, providing the clinical execution necessary to prevent the building's historical anxiety from taking hold. Following the Game 1 loss, the Magic face a deficit against an elite defense that has successfully neutralized their primary scoring threat. However, Orlando's young core has spent the season building a reputation for resilience, often finding ways to win games through sheer physical persistence. For the Pistons, the pressure remains. A 60-win season is a historical footnote if the team cannot maintain this level of execution under the playoff lights. Playoff basketball forces a team to reconcile their current performance with the lingering weight of their franchise's history. Success in this environment is measured by a player's ability to withstand the physical opponent and the psychological momentum of the past simultaneously.